through email, through a phone call, even through a text. I know some of my clients live on the Navajo Nation and can't get email all the time and or have a smartphone yet. So sometimes even a phone call and or text helps out a lot. And different messaging apps through social media is, I don't mind using at all, because like some people prefer different ways of communication, and good communication, fast, quick communication can lead to the logo being created like on time in a timely fashion, and you get the logo quicker. So those are all the forms of communication that I'm comfortable with and have worked with in my past clients and or organizations. The next step after the initial meeting and during the meeting, we talked about how the logo is actually being created. So in the initial meeting, we talk about the companies or persons organization that they work for, their company that they created, or anything that fits in that ballpark. We talk about the rough sketches that it takes. Through this rough sketch stage, after bouncing off ideas and the client telling me more about their organization, the rough sketches is actually a very important step for the logo to develop in a quicker timeline. So during the rough sketches, I have my ideas, I know what the company is about, and almost everything I need to know about who they are. And so the ball is in my court, so to say, to come up with as much rough sketches as possible. The more, the better. So like 20 sketches, 30 sketches, even 50 sketches, just to go through every option that the logo could possibly be. And that includes the shape of the logo, whether it's square, elongated, standing tall, or round. Those are the things that we explore during the rough sketch area. And this also minimizes the chance for later, when it is digitalized, that the client wants to completely change the how the logo should be. Maybe they thought they wanted a circle version, but they like the square version instead. And that's where we explore all these options for the rough sketches. So hopefully we have like 20 to 50 sketches so that all those options are seen, and the client or organization can select and can make a selection accordingly. And so moving on to the first digital composition, we have, out of that 20 to 50, the organization or client, I like to have them choose 1 to 3, make 1 to 3 selections for each composition. So we have a digital composition, which would be the first one after the sketches, and then the font compositions, and then after that, the color compositions. So the digital composition would be the first like black and white designed logo to see what are out of the rough sketches that we select. And I say 1 to 3 because, just like before, to minimize the amount of choices. And if there's a large organization trying to select a 1 or 5, it just creates more time in the timeline and makes the logo, it takes the logo a lot longer to complete, because all these decisions are made and pretty soon I have 10, or the organization doesn't know what to do with those 10, reducing it to 1 to 2, or the person selecting 1 to 3. So it's important to have these selections stay as minimal as possible, even just choosing 1 if it's like spot on. Um, and so the digital composition is the first black and white design composition, and it could be the more of the art-based image. So let's say Nike has the swoosh and it has the text at the bottom or top that says the letters Nike. So the digital composition would be the artwork per se first, which would be the Nike swoosh. And let's say there's several versions of that, but we have to lock that down before we get on to the next composition. Once that's chosen, the font compositions come into play. And that's where the font of the letters Nike is played with, whether it's a thin based font or very bold or medium or slanted or tall or wide. And so those are the font compositions. So we had to go through 1 to 3 selections, hopefully 1 to 3. And so if it's spot on and we only need one, then that's chosen. Then we can move on to the color compositions. And I design in the digital composition and the font compositions in black and white because in art school, art, just research and design research, whatever looks good in black and white will look good in color. So that's why I design in black and white. So it won't fail you when it comes to the color compositions. So we have our digital composition final version, we have our final font versions, they're together. And now is the color compositions. This is where we can apply different color options. And this happened, or this is where you also need to think about the colors that you like, also how many colors you want to use. Keep in mind that the more colors you use, the more expensive it'll be on your end as a business owner or organization when using your logo files for big production printing, like making t-shirts, making merchandise, making banners, making cups, making all these things. So when you use a printer, the more colors you use, the more expensive it'll be. So I like to say that there's a lucky number of colors to use, which is 3 to 6. That's kind of like the sweet spot that I've learned to use. So you're paying for 3 colors when you print a t-shirt, or 6 colors when you use a t-shirt, print a t-shirt. Any more than 6, of course, the numbers can easily go up to 12 different colors. And coming from an art background, those colors easily stack up, but I have to remember the graphic designer in me to make it more affordable. And that's how we start doing the color compositions, selecting the amount of colors you want to use, also, and just figuring out what your best colors could be for your company or organization. And again, hopefully 1 to 3, and then boil it down to 1. So once that color composition, the color version of your logo is complete, then we start to wrap things up. And from the rough sketches to the full color logo creation, it could take some time. And for the next bullet point is good communication. So I've learned through doing logos for a couple of years now, maybe about 10 or more years. Good communication always pushes the project a lot faster and a lot healthier to save some stress and all those good things through a logo process. And before I move to the next bullet points, is there any questions about the rough sketches to color compositions? Let me look in the chat.
Yeah, Corey, I think they were just wondering if they're supposed to be seeing different slides, but I let them know that that you're going through each of these bullet points to let people know what they should be doing.
Okay. Yeah, we're still on logo design steps.
And I don't think there's any other questions right now. At least I'm not seeing any in the chat box.
Okay. So moving forward, so after the full color composition is complete, I create a brand identity kit. And I'm pretty sure there will be another webinar in place for branding information and the importance. But I can quickly go over this kit with you for the sake of building your logo design. So along with your root files, in your compositions, once all is said and done, and we've completed the logo creation, I build a brand identity kit for you to like a PDF kit to to let you know what your logo is about and what I did and how I created it. And I have more slides further to show you what is in that brand identity kit and the information you need to know about your logo. And so when the logo is done, the delivery of root files in the brand identity kit, either through mail or Dropbox or any of those file sharing apps, is when the logo is pretty much complete. You have your root files, which is the bulk of what you're paying for to create files from any or at any direction you need. And so with my client and organization in this logo design process, the client gets a full color logo, and the client also gets a single color logo, meaning you get an all black logo and an all white logo. So if the black logo was on a white background, just like what we're seeing now, the black text on top of a white background. So reverse that, the white logo would be all white with a black background, but these will be transparent, so the backgrounds wouldn't be there. And so the black and white version is for printing jobs that may only be printed in black and white. With the black color background, you use your white logo on top. And with your white color background, use your black logo on top. So you get the black and white version and the full color logo. And if needed, if the logo has 6 colors and you really like one color that's let's say it's orange, one color logo of all orange could also be that middle range for different printing purposes. And I can go over that later. Okay, the next bullet point, and I'm open to collaborations when the project is done, because I may answer some questions that the printer has been having questions thrown at you for your logo use, and they use language through a graphic designer and printer interaction. So if you need help with any of that information, you can come back to me and we can figure those things out, and or different color combinations and or any questions at all about your logo. I keep myself open and available to those things for all my clients and or organizations. And I think it's helpful to have a designer that can do that for you, because in the past I've known of designers who just completely shut off from their clients and organizations that may need help a couple of years down the road or a couple of months down the road. So I like to keep that collaboration open. And after that is when the work is complete. And this is the logo design steps that I explain to my clients and organizations who want to work with me, and overall learn more about logo design and what it takes. Okay, I can go to the next slide. Did the slides
So,
change?
so Corey, Lori was asking what software are we talking about, and I don't know at what point, but I know that you do a lot of stuff by hand before turning it into digital. So, can you kind of maybe talk about you know, the software that you use in crafting logos?
Yeah, I use the Adobe Suite. I'm just so used to, like a mechanic, using raw tools. I know there's several apps now that can help designers make easier graphic design projects. But with the Adobe Suite, and I mostly use Illustrator. Sometimes I use Photoshop as a helping tool or an assistant, and or InDesign as an assistant. But mainly I use Illustrator because that allows me to um, get those vector points very sharp. Um, and the next slide will help. The next couple slides will help show you the rough sketches into the digital compositions, and then samples of some of the um, logos that I've done and other logo examples just for more information. So yes, I used Adobe Suite, and for the most part, I use Adobe Illustrator.
You know, and one of the things I was going to say is, like you were mentioning, there's a lot of tools that people can get on out there. Canva, that's a big one that you can have, that people are utilizing to design their own logo. One of the things that I might suggest is you're going to see Corey's process here, how he starts by drawing by hand. There's a good thought process to just do it by hand, start working. Because when we were talking about designing some of these logos for the farmers, you were talking about doing sometimes 30 to 50 rough sketches, and I don't think a lot of people put forth the effort when they're doing their own logo. If they would do that, they may actually have some really good results and see how it can work a number of ways. And so I just was thinking, as you go through your own process, people should be thinking like, oh, well, he's an artist. This process could work for you individually too, even if it's maybe you're not as good, an illustrator as Corey is. You could still design something, I think, that would be good as well.
Are you able to see the rough sketches?
Yes, yeah, we see the rough sketches in the notebook.
Okay, and yeah, the 20 to 50 sketches, it gives you all the options you want to see before you actually start. So that's the benefit of having rough sketches. And as you can see, you don't need to be the best illustrator at all to do these sketches. These are pretty much stick figures, and I sometimes don't have the best what do you call it, legible writing. But this is one page that I am working with Artie Yazzie. He's one of the farmers through the TLE program. So I'm sharing a bit of our design process. And I believe there are about 4 pages of sketches like this, some with just multiple styles of the letter AY. And he wanted to make that that letter AY to be the art part of the logo, as I mentioned with the Nike logo. The swoosh, so his swoosh is the letter AY, and that's why you can see throughout my sketchbook is just the AY, different variations, along with three more pages that are more filled than this one. And his font would be his font compositions would be land and cattle as somewhat the subtitle. But overall, the whole thing will be the logo piece. So there's two different things going on, the artwork and the font. Yeah, so here's an example of one page of my sketchbook. You don't have to be an artist. You can do the very basics as long as things are rounded or sharp or fluid-like, or that's where you start to peel apart all these options that sketches benefit from. In the next slide. Can you all see the digital compositions?
Yeah, sorry, it takes me a second to get off of mute, but yes, we see the digital compositions.
Okay. So out of that 20, I think I did about around 25 sketches. Out of that 25, we selected two that made the top two to choose from. And I definitely had to do some custom work within Illustrator as a part of also using different fonts that we selected, and yeah, creating the art piece portion of the digital composition, and again designing in black and white so that it looks good in any color. And before that, that's where we stopped. We still need to do the font compositions. So that's why they're not up here yet. It's still in the process. So if you can all see my logo portfolio, this is some of the logos that I've created throughout the years, and along with a whole lot more that I haven't documented. So the top left is my own logo. I love different font styles, so I chose one that best fits my character, and through cultural knowledge and different storytelling, I wanted to use the arrowhead as my art piece along with my initials. And moving to the right is BlackRock construction management, I believe. And finding things that relate to the business or organization to make it as personal as possible is the direction for all of these logos. So BlackRock is a community in Kayenta, so we used it as the A since it's in the shape of an A, and using those types of being clever about those types of things help out the logo a lot in character to get attention, as well as the O being the 4 directions on Navajo Nation. And to the right of that is Enough Physical Therapy, and the physical therapist is from a body of water. So I used the shape of the river built within the logo to create their logo design for physical therapy. And then again, One Fire Associates is a organization on the East Coast, and we've developed this. I've actually recreated this a second time just because I got better. I got better, and I offered my services to reconstruct their logo. And it's actually a story, a cultural story involved about why the One Fire Associates logo looks this way. And then transcending strategies, again, making it personalized, as well as Hojon Nasha Consulting. Yeah, so these are a portfolio of logos that I have created, along with, I'm sure, many more, but I just want to share some of them on one slide. Okay, to learn more about logos, here are some samples of corporate logos. And in designing a logo, they say that the best logo design can be seen at 1 inch by 1 inch. So depending on your screen size, this is a little larger than 1 inch, but you can kind of get the idea that powerful logos are very simple. And the more corporate, the more well-known, the more popular the logo, it can go without its name. So Apple products can be seen just by the icon itself, which is on the right side. And on the left side, it has the name of the company. So if they're strong enough and popular enough, and I'm very sure more like the bigger the company is or the more popular, they can get away without using their name, which is on the right side. I don't favor these brands, but just to show you the large corporate logo frame overall, this is the what is sought after in looking at a logo. And to also repeat, a good logo should be recognizable at 1 inch by 1 inch. So yeah. And moving on to, is there any questions?
Yeah, Corey. So there's a couple ones. Dawn just had a comment, and I forget which one it was. Which I don't know if it was your business. She goes, "I'm paying attention. Love the info, and I'm thinking the business could have the tagline." So I don't know. So I don't know which business she was talking about. But Nikki wanted to know which tool did he say will take sketches and turn them into a design. And I thought, um, I mean, just from my experience working in Illustrator, you're actually taking your sketches and then trying to recreate them in Illustrator, right? Nothing that you do is the software is automatic and doing it for you.
Yeah, it's definitely not automatic. Like I can't take my sketch directly into a program and they build it for me. You have to learn how to use these software programs to best get your rough sketches. And you kind of have to know like there are different thicknesses, different sizes, different looks, different so let's say land and cattle. I kind of know that a person who works with livestock and grows produce on their farm would not want something that's and that's the part of getting to know your organization and client or that you're working for is knowing how to fit these or feel these things out. And so when you get into digitalizing it, fonts are kind of easy because you can look for something close and then customize it and do some tweaking and some more editing. If it's an actual art piece like the Hajona Shah Consulting, then that's where your illustration is very roughly drawn so that you take into consideration um, black and white designing. Because like I said, when you design in black and white, it looks good in any color. So all of these color areas are black and white. And through practice, you'll begin to see what it takes to convert your pencil sketches into objects in Illustrator and or sharpening them up in Photoshop and or Illustrator again and really making everything precise. As you can see, I've done for some time and I'm able to know that my stick figures can turn into one of these two and more. Because that's the part of a thumbnail sketch that gives us plenty of options. Or if it needs to be in a circular format or elongated or tall. So that's how your rough sketch can be turned into something that is a vector file, meaning something sharp and clean. Any other questions?
Danella had wanted to know the programs that you use, and I'm just listing them here that you use. That you basically the only programs that you've mentioned are all in the Adobe Creative Cloud, and you know the primary program that you're talking about is Adobe Illustrator. But then you also occasionally will use Photoshop or InDesign as kind of an assistant to finalize the logo.
Yeah.
So other than that, you're ready to roll.
Okay. And next slide. So from here, moving forward is information about the brand identity kit that I was talking about, that you get along with closing your logo design project. So this brand identity kit gives you really good information about your logo and the information needed, or the information I've used to build a logo, which programs to use and color codes and this and that. So the brand identity kit helps you create it, helps the brand create its own unique look and separates itself from other organizations. And again, I believe there will be another webinar going over this information and more, but we can quickly talk about it. This helps in creating a strategy and getting a loyal group of followers / people. Branding is more important now than ever. With social media, people get exposed to new brands every day. There's a large amount of competition today, so businesses need to go the extra mile of making sure they stand out in a crowd. And I feel like for the Native community, it's growing much larger within the past couple of years now, more than ever. And so there is still good chances to still be, it's getting a little bit more competitive now, I should say, than before 3 years ago, because there are more organizations coming out, and it's beautiful, it's great. But if you want your organization or business to stand out, that's where a lot of these things, this information is helpful. So benefits of having a logo is the professionalism of the look and actions. Benefits of having a logo: it grabs attention, it is the foundation of your organization, and people expect it. So when I say it's the foundation of your organization and why logos can cost so much, and the fees may or may not cost so much, is because you are paying for one look. But if you look at the overall, the broad usage of it, is you are making merchandise or promotional content or banners. It's carrying your company for you, literally. So without your logo attached to the work you do, it wraps everything up for you, and it gives you like your mascot in a sense. So it is the foundation of your organization. Every campaign, every tool, every toolkit, any stem of your organization branched out to any campaign and or what have you. It carries all of that. And so it makes people know to look for that logo and that your work is associated with it. And back to the physical logo itself. So a part of the brand identity kit. So this is a part of how to use your logo. So when using your logo, and these are just rough measurements. So when your logo is being used, make sure to keep at least 0.5 inches clear space surrounding logo edges from any borders, text, and or objects. This allows your logo to separate itself to be seen clearly for best display. And the best example that I can give is when there's a big conference or something, or you're part of a magazine or a part of a big banner, and there's all these supporters and people who have helped the organization, and all your logos are at the bottom. And this, having written this in your contract or whatever for having a banner, this makes sure that there's enough clear space surrounding your logo so that it doesn't conflict with your neighbors who also is supporting the same conference or whatever. So it makes sure that your logo separates itself so it can be seen for best display when put alongside any other logos or any other images itself, or photo, or any image style, whatsoever. And so, yeah, there's that clear space is important for logo usage. And logo construction was developed with initial brainstorming process that led to creating sketches, thumbnails to see a wide range of different shapes and styles, followed by working with selected 1 to 2 digital compositions and making edits to compositions until a final logo was selected. So this is just a part of your information of how the logo was created when the project was started within your design kit. That will most likely be a PDF and comes with your completed work with the root files. And okay, logo variations, logo uses. The logo variation offer a range of uses. The full color option is #1 when presented. And I cannot stress this enough. People want to use like their all black logo or their all white logo or their medium color logo, but those are just the teammates. You want the team, meaning the full color logo, to be the #1 aspect of your logo. So when you use your logo, you should always try to use your full color version, and that one's the one that carries your company. Only until some design, what do you call it? Struggles happen and you need to use your all black logo or all white logo or your mid-color logo. That's the only reason why you should use a single colored logo. But full color logo is always the first choice. And okay, so black and white options are available for black and white printing or simple light and dark contrast. And so here are some examples. This is my my little template of a full color logo, an all black logo, and an all white logo with a black background. And then, so this is inside the kit again, that comes with the completed work. And so with the color specifications, if it were your logo would be on the right side, where it says the full color logo. And then all of the colors that I use, whether it's 3 colors or 6 colors or 8 colors, I have to provide the color code information for each color. So this one has 3 colors used, and these are the color codes you need for any printing job. And if something happens or someone tries to tweak a certain color that's not a part of this color code format, then if let's say McDonald's use someone else or someone changes the color of that yellow and it's not a part of this color code, then it's a fraud. That's why the best example I can give. So these are exact color codes. CMYK is for color printing on paper. RG is for print on paper or any material. RGB is color code for digital. So RGB is what you see on your phone, your laptop, your TV. And the hashtag mark is the color code for I think it's just color code specifics for, I forgot the the color file exact name, but it's another important color format. Even though there's just one color blue, it comes with all that information. And so, yeah, the more colors you use, the more color swatches you have to provide.
Corey, we did have a question, but one of the things I did want to say is like having that hex code for your color. It's always it's very good because, like, you know, a lot of times you're recreating colors like we do this because we utilize the Adobe Suite, but then for ease of use, we've been using Canva, and being able just to punch in your hex code and you know that's the exact color that you need for, you know, and it's going to match your logo. It makes it very handy. So make sure that you remember, you write down, and you have those on hand, the different colors that you use to brand your business, because, you know, you could be, every time you go somewhere and you want to design something, you know, you'll have those colors, and that's a great way to do it. Although you could do it by using the RGB code I just find having that hex code makes it valuable. But Melody wants to know, for your logo, are there any colors that shouldn't be used?
No, yeah, the sky's the limit for any colors you want to use. The only little advice that I like to use is the most common background that your logo will be against is white, like for paper, like for letterheads, or like this presentation or any other thing. The most common color is white. So when creating your logo, you don't want to use too many very, very light colors. So as a part of a art background and history that I have, like contrast is always key. Like these colors, blue, green, and dark blue, they're all medium color or higher. You can kind of get away with something that's very light, but it has to be within like a dark object or dark letter. So I would kind of stay away from using light colors just because when you try to see it against the white background, it won't really show through. That's just a tip, an idea. Like you don't have to go by that, but that's just something I've seen. It's like trying to read a yellow text on a white background. It's hard, very hard to see. And with your logo, I'm pretty sure you want people to see your logo like very good.
So Nicole asked if I have the hex code, how do I find the CMYK and RGB? And I'm familiar with like when if you're using Illustrator or you're using Photoshop, right? It's right next door. You can easily convert over and get the information. But one of the things that if you don't have that, I know in Canva, it may give you that information, but there's actually websites. Like I just searched hex to RGB color converter, and you could just type in, and I just typed in 00 AEEF, and it gave me down here the CSS color RGB 0174239, and that matches exactly what Corey has on his presentation. So you can just actually go on the website and or on Google and actually find tons and tons of websites that will give you that kind of information.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah,
and then there aren't.
Come again?
Really quick, there aren't only these 3 color codes. There are multiple formats of color codes, and these are just 3 popular ones with the hex color code. And so there are multiple file types for color codes. These are just 3 popular ones. But yeah.
And just to enlighten us, well, when would you use like another one? Would that be like something specialty, like let's say you were painting a car and there's a certain car color, and so you use that type of color code for just cars?
Yeah, it's like when it's taken out of context of like a basic 8.5 by 11 working document, that is most likely CMYK or RGB or hex code. But if you really, really like this color blue and you want it on your vehicle, then that paint mixer will need a different color code to find that style blue and make it for you, if that makes sense. And or when it has to be completely taken out of context, or if it's a neon sign and they need those color codes for this color blue. What I like about the Adobe Suite and Illustrator is they offer all those color codes possible. So that's kind of what separates Canva from Illustrator, to give you that, like, every tool you need to do what you need to do to create illustrations and logos. But yeah, so that's the importance of having multiple color codes. And yeah, you can look them up online or use those converters.
Yeah, because there's even a color code here. I don't even know what it is. It's RGB to HSL. I have no idea what that means, but it's something different. And so Valerie wants to know, what are the considerations for individuals with colorblind considerations?
Um, Designing in grayscale. So grayscale is another color format, and of course, it's exactly as it sounds. Designing in black and white and gray, all different gray form or all different levels of gray. So yeah, that's the that's the best way I can answer that. I haven't really designed for that community yet, but or population. So yeah, that's the best I can answer that one.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's one of the things that I experience. I'm colorblind. And so it has always been a difficulty when designing. That's why I have to ask my wife. So she has
Mm.
to come in and tell me, could you tell me what color this is or it's supposed to be?
Yeah, and that's why when creating and offering all black, all white logos, um, that helps out with that issue as well for people with color blindness, so that it looks good for them as well.
Right. So Nikki wanted to know, is it, and this may go back to the color code issue, is it difficult for t-shirt companies, for example, to use certain colors, or do they only need exact hex code CMYK, etc.?
I've learned that it depends on the printer you go to because multiple printers have different ways of printing, different like mechanics, different tools that they use, different processes. And within that equipment, some may need different color codes than others. Um, or the best they can do is like match a swatch that they have. Um, that's like the hardest way to do it, but that's sometimes like the best they can do.
Yeah, and even if they had a swatch, there's even tools, right, that you can put that up, and this tool can like digitally read that color and give you the code.
Yeah, yeah, and so every printer should have their own way and their own knowledge of color matching. Um, so it's pretty advanced, and unless they lack the number of colors that they can actually mix, and that's for t-shirts, that's for screen printing. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, all right, that's it. We're up to date.
okay. Um, okay, so we can talk about backgrounds. So these are different background uses. When using different color combinations for the logo, keep in mind contrast. Contrast meaning light colors against dark colors and vice versa. It is highly recommended that a solid color is chosen for the background for best display. If the logo version is placed on top of a pattern background, make sure that the pattern or image background is soft so that the logo on top is sharper and stands out. Um, yeah, so here are three different scenarios. So this full color logo is against a white background, so you can see it stand out and it's striking. The bottom left is, let's say, a black wall, a black background, a black poster. That's when you want to use your all white color logo on top of that. If you use your full color logo, that dark blue is close enough to black for that G to fade away. So that's when you use your all white color logo. And let's say there's down to the bottom right, let's say there's a pattern or a loud noise color background in the back, and you want to use your logo on top. In this case, it matches with your full color logo because the background pattern are warm colors, yellow and orange, and your full color logo they're all cool colors and a little darker. So it's okay to use your full color logo in this scenario. You can also use your all black color version logo and put it on top of that pattern, and that would actually be more striking, more vibrant. So those are just a little knowledge about how to use your logo against backgrounds. And along with that, there's a logo best practices and the different types of displays. So while using logo, do not take away from the original proportions. And I strongly suggest you take that information and run with it. That is another very, very key information to know when using your logo. Like, do not take away from the original proportions. Even if you need to fill in space, do not stretch it. Okay, so when needing to make the logo shorter or thinner, be sure to scale the entire logo, not stretch one side. Then scale the entire logo bigger or smaller to fit instead of stretching or skewing. Logo should always be displayed right side up with no angle. So our samples show that the logo should not be pushed down so it's shorter. It should not be stretched taller. It should not be skewed in any direction, nor should it stay proportional and be angled. And this is all a part of being professional. Being a professional at your work, having your organization be as professional as possible. You want your logo to be recognizable and consistent. And so that's why these logos are provided.
You know, and I was just going to say, like, if you ever work with other organizations' logos, like oftentimes I'm creating like one of the things we do in America Save, let me see, is America Saves, and we do a campaign, and they send us a guide that's just like this, that has all these rules about how we're supposed to use their logo. And this is what a lot of businesses will do when they send out their logos to people. They have certain rules that they want it, because that's identifying their business, and they want it to be handled in a certain way. And you guys should do the same with your logo when you get it designed.
Yeah, and this is it. This is what they've sent you, their brand identity kit.
Right.
So along with them allowing you to use their logo, they sent this to you, which is a brand identity kit of how to use their logo. So this is exactly it. To treat your logo like as best as possible. Okay. So going into more logo best practices is screen display versus print. And I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier. So screen display is all display via the web and devices. This is your website and social media displays. When placing your logo for screen display, make sure to use a lower quality image for fast loading on your website. High quality logos on websites slows down the page. However, the use of high quality display for any physical print jobs, paper, t-shirt, merch, billboards, etc. So screen display is RGB. So let's simplify this. So everything you see on your phone, on your laptop, on your screen is RGB. It is also low quality, so that all that information about images doesn't slow down your phone, doesn't slow down your laptop, doesn't slow down your TV. But that RGB stays very strong in contrast because it's a RGB color code. So when you're using your logo for, let's say, social media, and these are those different file options that I've shown you at the beginning as well, JPEG, PNG. So screen display is RGB and must be a lower quality image. And some of the standardized numbers for DPI, which is a resolution number. The most common one used for screens is 72 or 75. And then the max best high quality or the max quality for any image, whether it's a photo or illustration or graphic, is 300. So that's the max for most printing jobs. And so for screen printing, they lower that DPI. That's at 300 DPI. The lowest is 72 DPI. So most devices, most on-screen images or imagery use 72 DPI for screen display. Versus print display, it needs high quality. So that's when you go to your high quality 300 DPI image file to send to your printer so that they can use all that information to get the color right, to get the shapes right, to get the little details of your image right, that with to whatever you're printing on. So if you use a 300 DPI on your screen display, it'll slow your screen down, whether it be your home page, your shopping page, your social media page. Also causes an overload in some areas of your hard drive. So that's the difference between the two, screen display versus print display. Any questions about the past couple slides?
I don't have any questions as of yet in the chat box.
Okay, and I think we're
But you're getting the thumbs up.
yeah, okay, cool. I think we're toward the end of my slides. Yeah. And again, if you have any information or yeah, any of my information, here's my ending screen. And if there's any other questions that anybody can think of, that's about it for my slides.
Okay, great. Well, so thank you very much. This is very enlightening. I mean, you have a professional here, so this is great to learn and see how a professional designs logos, because Corey's designing logos, like I said, for some of the farmers, and maybe you can't afford, Corey to come and design a logo for your business, but you get to see his process that he's doing, and it's not just jumping on the computer and boom, 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 and you got a logo. It's really thinking about it, and you heard all those steps he's doing, not only just drawing, but thinking about how would a rancher want this part of your logo or the text in your logo to be represented. They probably don't want a bunch of swirls and everything. They may want a more simple, more straightforward, and be thinking about that for your own business. What am I trying to represent? And then choosing fonts and images appropriately. While we have other questions potentially coming in, I did want to let everybody know that in 2 weeks, we're doing another presentation, and Corey's going to take it out of the logo, or away from just logos, and really focus on branding your entire business, and coming from where he helps organizations developing things like color, and choosing the appropriate colors, and also probably talking about brand kits and making sure other outside organizations are using those things as well to represent all phases of the branding of your organization. And that's going to be on July 9th, same time, 4 p.m. Arizona time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So, and let me get back to the question. So, I don't know if you want to answer this, but Joyce asked, what are your average cost? And I'm assuming that she means for designing a logo.
You can reach out to me with my information on the screen, and we can go more in depth about that. As a designer and graphic designer, there is I tend to select jobs or work that fulfills me. And so that oftentimes is mostly more leaning toward like community-based work, building communities, organizations that I'm really passionate about, especially for entrepreneurs on Navajo in Indian country, and also offering like workshops for graphic design and just like also the same type of movements that I'm about. So that really gives my work like a good cause, and I believe that's what separates me from other designers. But I'm also open to any other type of job if we like sit down and talk about it and talk about different ways and different styles of or different options for designing a logo or any other graphic design job. And just really quick to add, along with that branding information in the next webinar is also a little bit more talking to marketing strategy or marketing information. But yeah, any other
so the moral of the story is if Corey likes you, he'll give you a discount. So that
I do tend to lean toward and help community efforts a lot more than just some random ad job on the side of a 16-wheeler.
right. So Danella asked, do you suggest purchasing an iPad to do most jobs?
That is a good start. There are also to make things digital like that, there are also other art boards to use, something that looks like an iPad, but they're also like art pads, electronic art pads. Even going old school and using a pencil, converting it to pen and scanning that and refining it. There's multiple ways. And sometimes I go back to that to solve a equation that I can't solve at that moment for any design need. So there's multiple ways of approaching ways to achieve different looks and different things that you need to work on a logo.
Yeah, and I'll just say, because my wife does some design work as well, and she has an iPad and has been doing some of her illustration using Procreate. I don't know if you ever used that, Corey, and it's just kind of amazing what some of these tools allow you to do. And she's able to change different brushes and everything. And she does a lot of work drawing horses. That's kind of her specialty. And just, being able to, change a brush or, change the thickness to, so she can do the mane just the way it's supposed to be and everything. It's pretty crazy, but you don't need all that, right? And you're doing a lot of stuff just with a pencil and a sheet of paper. So it runs the gamut. So you don't need to go get an iPad if you want to design a logo. That's not the first thing. Don't rush out and spend a ton of money. Try going the old school and inexpensive way first. So Nikki just had a comment. She's hoping to start her own nonprofit soon, and she's given a little hint here. Fingers crossed, maybe Corey can design my logo someday soon. So all right, so be on the lookout for Nikki. Nicole wanted to know what were the file types mentioned, and I'm not sure if she what exactly she was referencing there. Do you know what she's talking about?
So we talked about two, one for images and the other for color codes. So if it is for images, I'm sorry, the most common types of image file types there are is, and the one mostly used is a JPEG file. And that is a pixel based, kind of like a photo that you take on your phone. If you zoom in, keep zooming in to like 1,000%, you'll start to see pixels. So that's what a JPEG is, one of many that are pixel based. So that is a JPEG file. And the other one is a PNG file, which is a vector-based file. So if you zoom in on a PNG or EPS file, I think PNGs are still pixels, but they're created from vectors. So if you take a true vector file, I'm sorry throwing all this language out, but a true vector file is a Illustrator file or EPS. There's more types, but we'll stick with those two. if you zoom in on a vector file, the line will always stay sharp. If you design in black and white, there will be no pixels at all. If you zoom into 100,000%, that those vector lines will always remain sharp. And so that's how images are blown up on the side of buildings, on across the sky, on banners from the airplane. That's what they're using when into vector versus pixels. So some of the more simple ones are JPEG and PNG.
Okay, all right. I think Don was just asking what is the name of the next class, and the name of the next class is Branding 101. And I was hoping to have the marketing up already for it, but it will go up no later than tomorrow for everybody to register. And I'll make sure that everybody that was in this class gets a personal invite for that class as well. So Valerie, I think this question's asked. I think Valerie needs to contact you. She wants to know, does Corey have a base starting logo cost to share with us? So we'll have Valerie reach out to you as well. His email's on the screen here, graphcook@hotmail.com. Joyce was just thanking you for a great presentation. Linda Lee Watts iPad, I think she was referencing back to that. Danilo, is any suggestion on an art pad if you had that? And I think that's it. And everybody else is just saying thank you. So if you have information on an art pad to suggest, if not, I think that's it.
For the art pad, I think it's just between or what the artist or person is comfortable with. Apple iPad is great, but being an artist and then being in the line of business, I use a Wacom art board, and it's as large as a TV. It's like 30 by 24, and I can like lay it down and draw on it digitally. So it all depends on how invested you are in it. Wacom is a great company for digital art boards, and that's for illustrating, and it's separate from using Adobe Illustrator, if that makes sense. But yeah, and I believe I've seen people use Apple iPad to actually create some really cool stuff that you won't even think of it as a Apple iPad. So it's kind of like your preference, but I know Wacom offers more tools to use while using it and when outputting, and definitely more geared to illustrating on screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I have one. Hold on one second, I'm gonna stand up. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this out. No, I'm not gonna be able to get it out.
And they do.
I actually got one from a place that sells stuff from China. So they made one that was kind of like a Wacom, but it was like a little bit, it doesn't have all the features on it, but it was a fraction of the cost. So if you're just beginning, I don't want to send everybody down the corporate route, but you might look on Amazon because there's a lot of these knockoffs on there, and it won't get you all the tools. It won't be as nice as a Wacom, may not be as precise, but you know what? It'll at least get you drawing, and and so it's a little bit different than an iPad, right? Because with a Wacom, you're plugging it in. Although I know there is some Wacoms now, like you're drawing on the screen. But the old old pad that I have is you plug it in like via USB, and it's like a giant mouse pad, and you're drawing on it, and you're actually seeing the cursor and the different brushes move on screen. So, so there's those are out there. So maybe try one that's a little bit cheaper just to start. I'm always on cost. I don't want anybody to rush in unless they know for sure that they're going to use it. So. Yeah, but I think that's about it. I think everybody has thanked us. So, but Corey, I want to thank you. I mean, awesome presentation, tremendous amount of information, and it's great information that people can use within their businesses.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to thank everybody else for joining the call. Yeah, and Taco. Yeah, I do this for a living. I can't imagine doing anything else than designing or creating art. So thank you for listening to what I have to say, and hopefully see you in the next webinar series.
Yes, so everybody join us back. Like I said, 4 p.m. Arizona time on July 9th. It's basically in 2 weeks. It's going to be on a Thursday. That's on a Tuesday, I believe, right? Is that what we have that on? I believe we actually have that on a Tuesday. I want to make sure that that date's correct. AJ, if I am wrong on that date and I've just been giving everybody the wrong date, please let me know. I was just going by what we had in the email.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's correct.
Okay. Well, we'll double check regardless, and we'll get that marketing out and we'll invite everybody. So I hope everybody had a great time. I hope everybody comes back and joins us in a couple weeks. I want to thank everybody for coming today, and we'll see you guys all soon. See you guys all soon. Yes. All right. So long, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.